Imagine a building that held everything humanity had ever learned. Every discovery, every poem, every mathematical proof, every medical treatment, every philosophical argument ever put into words. All of it stored in one place. That building existed. It was called the Library of Alexandria. And someone destroyed it. But here is the part they don't teach you in school. Nobody knows who did it. There are 4 suspects: a Roman general, a Christian emperor, an Arab caliph, and time itself. And the mystery has haunted historians for over 2,000 years. This is the story of the greatest intellectual crime in human history. The city of Alexandria was founded by Alexander the Great around 332 BC on the coast of northern Egypt. Alexander wanted to build the greatest city the world had ever seen, a crossroads of Greek, Egyptian, Persian, and Indian cultures, a city where knowledge was power. After Alexander's death, his general, Ptolemy I, took control of Egypt and made Alexandria his capital. But Ptolemy had a vision that went beyond politics and war. He wanted to collect every single piece of written knowledge in the known world and put it all in one place. So he built the Mauseon, a word that literally means Shrine of the Muses and is the origin of our word museum. It was not just a library. It was the world's first research university. It had lecture halls, laboratories, botanical gardens, a zoo, dining halls, and at its center, the Great Library. Ptolemy's ambition was simple and terrifying. He wanted a copy of every book ever written, and he nearly succeeded. The Library of Alexandria used methods that would make modern collectors blush. Ships arriving at the port of Alexandria were searched, not for weapons or contraband, but for books. Any scroll found on board was confiscated, copied by scribes, and the copy was returned to the owner. The original stayed in the library. Ptolemy III once borrowed the original manuscripts of the great Greek tragedies, Aeschylus, Sophocles, and Euripides, from Athens. He paid an enormous deposit of 15 talents of gold as a guarantee that he would return them. He never did. He kept the originals, sent back copies, and forfeited the gold. The books were worth more to him than the fortune. At its peak, the Library of Alexandria is believed to have contained between 400,000 and 700,000 scrolls. Some ancient sources claim it held nearly 1 million. These weren't just Greek texts. The collection included works from Egypt, Persia, India, Babylon, and cultures across the ancient world. Works of literature, philosophy, astronomy, medicine, mathematics, geography, and history. The entire intellectual output of human civilization up to that point. The library employed scholars who translated texts from dozens of languages into Greek. It was here that the Hebrew Bible was first translated into Greek, a version known as the Septuagint, which would later become the basis for the Christian Old Testament. Euclid wrote his Elements of Geometry in Alexandria. Eratosthenes, a librarian at Alexandria, calculated the circumference of the Earth using nothing but shadows, sticks, and geometry. He was accurate to within 1%. In the 3rd century BC, without a computer, without a satellite, just pure human intelligence nurtured by a library that gave him access to the collective knowledge of the ancient world. So what happened to it? This is where the story fractures into myth, blame, and mystery. Because the Library of Alexandria didn't die in a single dramatic fire. It was murdered slowly, by at least 4 different killers spread across 7 centuries. Suspect number 1. Julius Caesar. In 48 BC, Caesar was pursuing his rival Pompey into Egypt. Trapped and outnumbered in the harbor of Alexandria, Caesar ordered his men to set fire to the Egyptian fleet. The flames spread. Parts of the city burned. Ancient writers disagree on what happened next. Plutarch claimed the library was destroyed entirely. Cassius Dio said many important books were lost. Caesar himself wrote about starting the fire, but conveniently never mentioned the library. Did Caesar burn the library? Probably not all of it. Historians now believe the fire damaged warehouses near the harbor where scrolls were stored for export, not the main library itself. But it was the first wound. Suspect number 2. The Christian Emperor Theodosius. In 391 AD, over 4 centuries after Caesar, the Roman Empire was now Christian, and Emperor Theodosius issued a decree banning all pagan practices across the empire. In Alexandria, the decree was enforced by Bishop Theophilus, who led a mob to the Temple of Serapis, a massive structure that housed a branch of the Great Library, known as the Daughter Library. The mob destroyed the temple. They smashed pagan statues. They burned books. The Daughter Library was obliterated. But was the main library still standing at this point? Some historians believe it had already declined significantly by then. Others argue that the Serapeum was the last surviving remnant of the original collection, and that its destruction in 391 AD was the true. Suspect number 3. The Arab Caliph Umar. In 642 AD, Arab forces conquered Alexandria. According to a story written 6 centuries later by a Christian bishop named Bar Hebraeus, the conquering general asked Caliph Umar what to do with the library's books. Umar allegedly replied with a chilling piece of logic. If the books agree with the Quran, they are unnecessary. If they disagree, they are dangerous. Either way, destroy them. According to this account, the scrolls were used as fuel to heat the city's bathhouses. There were so many books that they burned for 6 months. But most modern historians are skeptical of this story. It was written 600 years after the events it describes by a Christian author with clear motivation to blame Muslim conquerors. There is no contemporary evidence to support it. And if a massive library still existed in Alexandria in 642 AD, why did no earlier Arab writers mention it? And that brings us to suspect number 4, the most likely killer of all. Time. The truth is, the Library of Alexandria probably didn't die in a single dramatic fire. It died the way most great institutions die. Slowly, painfully, through centuries of neglect, political instability, and declining funding. After the Roman conquest of Egypt, Alexandria gradually lost its status as a center of learning. Scholars left, funding dried up, scrolls deteriorated. Political leaders cared more about military power than preserving ancient texts. The library didn't burn in one night, it crumbled over centuries. By the time the Arabs arrived in 642 AD, there may have been very little left to destroy. But what was actually lost? This is the part that should keep you up at night. The poet Sappho composed over 10,000 lines of poetry across 9 books. All 9 were held at the Library of Alexandria. Today, only 650 lines survive. The rest, gone forever. The library held the complete works of hundreds of ancient authors, whose names we know, but whose words we will never read again. Plays by Sophocles and Euripides that we've never seen. Scientific treatises that could have advanced human knowledge by centuries. Histories of civilizations that we can now only guess about. Some historians believe the library contained knowledge about technologies medicines, and astronomical observations that humanity had to rediscover from scratch over the following 1,000 years. The Dark Ages that followed the fall of Rome might have been shorter, or might never have happened at all, if the Library of Alexandria had survived. We will never know what we lost, and that might be the greatest tragedy of all. Here is the final haunting detail. No archaeological remains of the Great Library of Alexandria have ever been found. We know it existed. Dozens of ancient writers described it, but the physical building, the shelves, the reading rooms, all gone. Not a single stone has been identified. The greatest collection of knowledge in the ancient world didn't just lose its books, it lost itself. It vanished so completely that we cannot even point to the ground where it once stood. Today, a modern library, the Bibliotheca Alexandrina, stands near the site where the original is believed to have been. It was built in 2002 as a tribute to what was lost. Its main reading room can hold 8 million books, but the original held something no modern library can replace: the only copies of works that existed nowhere else on Earth. Knowledge that was created once, stored once, and destroyed once, forever. This has been The Odd Vault. If this unlocked something in your mind, subscribe, because we open a new vault every week. What they didn't tell you, we will.